Okay, Nozibele Qamngana
Mayaba.
Oh dear.
Yeah, because it was coming okay.
I was coming okay.
Yeah, it had to be that moment.
You are an HIV activist, Nozibele. Perhaps we should start with where it all began.
Yeah.
By the way, you look stunning.
Thank you. I just
really-
came back from work. Yeah.
You look absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
I love the hair, girl.
You like the hair?
Oh, I love the earrings, girl.
Hello,
Hey,
hello. I
girl.
needed to represent.
Look at you.
Okay.
Did you do your own face paint?
I did. I'm
Did
so
you?
trying.
No, it looks amazing.
Is that a
Okay.
face beat? Because
Yeah.
you know, generally when someone says face beat, I'm thinking thick.
Yeah.
But you, it's just
natural,
naturally,
yeah.
It just blends in.
Like,
Yeah.
it looks like, second skin.
Yeah.
Hey, well, yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Ah, thanks, guys. That was such a boost.
You know, now we've got the formalities out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, all protocol observed.
Wow.
You had to.
You know me.
You had to.
Tell us about where it all began. What happened to you?
Yeah. So, firstly, I did not plan out to be an HIV activist. I'm still two-way about it, whether I am or not. I'm just someone who goes and tells my story.
Okay.
Whether or not then that's an HIV activist, I care. Yeah. So I was diagnosed with HIV 2013. And I was at work, and there was a wellness day event. You know those wellness day events? You should go and exercise, and then you should go and test. And I didn't want to, because I was much thicker than I am back then, right? And
Why didn't you want to?
No, because then I was gonna meet like a dietitian who was gonna tell me about BMI.
Oh, so you were more thinking about the weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wasn't on the mood.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not gonna go. But then on the last day, I remember very well, it was like a whole week thing. Then on the last day, I was like, oh, there's nice goodie bags. There was one particular, those medical companies give you like those, not toiletry bags, man, those medical thingy bags you can take home. So I was like, oh, I want one. But then I was like, okay, then I had to go.
Oh, so they were enticing. That was essentially the prize.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went, and they're like, oh no, you need to do all the activities, and eventually, there's a station where you test for HIV, diabetes, hypertension, and all of that, just to make sure where you're at, so you can better take care of yourself. Eventually, it's like, okay, let's test for HIV. I was not. Like, honestly, the last thing on my mind. In actual fact, I was thinking to myself, I have a meeting in a couple of minutes, so this person better hurry
wasting
up.
my time.
Yeah, but then I do want that goodie bag. So I was like, okay, let's hurry up. And then the nurse did like the first test. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Just before she gives me my results, it was quite weird that she asked to do a second test. It's like, oh, okay. How come I'm the special one whose test was not clear?
That obviously played in your mind.
Yeah, because it was not clear, so that's why she wants to do it again. Okay. So she did it again. Now I was wide awake. Before I was like, okay, what is going on, right? And she was like, okay, she did the second one, and then it was quite odd when she asked, so who would you tell if you had tested positive? And then immediately, honestly, I was lying. I was like, oh, I'm going to tell my mom, right? Because I'm thinking to myself, it's part of the counseling or whatever. And she put both tests in front of me and says, you're HIV positive. And by the way, so you know exactly how the studio is like. So it was like a boardroom that they converted into like different stations.
Sure.
But
So
I'm loud.
And there are people in.
I don't know if they heard, but I was like, as soon as like she told me, I was like, HIV positive.
Nozibele.
You get what I mean?
Right there, because we have to take a short break.
Sure.
I want to hear what happened after 20 minutes after 4 Central African time. A woman who's living positively and freely, despite her HIV status, and she doesn't necessarily want to be referred to as an activist, right? She's just sharing your story.
I'm just sharing my story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're talking here about Nozibele Qamngana Mayaba.
Yeah, you go.
So do they call you Nozi?
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
So Nozi, then you find out about your results. It's in this setup where they've obviously put some divisions.
Yes.
For the different sections. You then scream out this thing.
Yeah, I was quite vocal.
Yeah.
I was quite vocal. But shame, to be fair, whoever heard, it never came out, or I never heard any rumors or anything like that. So
You were not looked at funny.
no.
Okay.
No. And so yeah, my then boyfriend and I used to work together at the time. So I called him. I'm like, I just came back from the wellness day thing. And they just said, like I blurted it out, they just said I'm HIV positive. And he kept quiet. And I think to myself, okay. No. At the time, I'm thinking to myself, it's one of those times where, you know, I'm animated, you know, it's like dramatic animated. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's one of those times where I'm overly excited about something and he's trying to calm me down. But then at the same time, I mean, this is not one of those situations. This is very serious. But yeah, he never, to cut the long story short, so we went for a second opinion. So the second time, so I was the first one who tested, but he didn't say anything towards the first results. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't understand. Okay, let's go for a second test. So we went for a second test to his doctor because I didn't want to go to my family doctor. The family doctor knew my mom, and so he did the first test. They now took blood too, but then he only received it like after 1 or 2 days. He didn't want to go and fetch the results. So then I'm like, okay, now there's something wrong. Then on the third time, I was like, okay, I need to understand what's going on because he doesn't want to go in and fetch the results. So I went to the new doctor and I lied and said, no, I'm just a regular test, you know, one of those things. He took a week, and when I went back to him, he says, no, I needed to get over the shock because...
The doctor?
Yes.
Firstly, it was the nurse at your workplace that was shocked herself. She did a second thing to verify.
Yes.
Then your new doctor is needed to get over the shock himself. Okay.
Now in retrospect, I'm like, if you are shocked, what am I going to do?
Right.
But yeah, he confirmed that you're HIV positive. And at the time, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is not an ideal situation. He's still not saying like what's going on, because when I met him, I was a virgin. Right, it was the first time engaging in like sexual activities, because I grew up in a very Christian home. You know, you should wait. You know,
this is with your boyfriend.
Married. Yes.
Okay, so did he eventually get the results?
I do not know.
Till today.
So yeah, you guys broke up.
We broke up because eventually, at first we stayed together for a couple of months, but then it was quite clear that this is not going to work out at all. Like he was doing the most. Okay, now it was not, if he was seeing someone before or during the time, now it was all in the open because there were so many different girls, and it was clear that it's not gonna, because at the time I was like, okay, let's stick together, let's see, you know, this is not the most ideal situation, but we're gonna work it out together. Son, it didn't work out.
So, I mean, you know, while there is a sense of you kind of being a typical woman to say we can work it out, there is, no, that's,
we also like working out. We also want to work out.
Okay. What has struck me about what you've just said is that you were a virgin. You came from a Christian background, so there's conditioning about, you know, how you think of yourself in relation to the world, in relation to men, in relation to what you should be doing with your body. And then you get this shock news. Tell me about the processing of your emotions. There's certainly, I'm just assuming here that there would be rage at some stage, there'd be shame.
Hey, that came very late.
Really?
Yeah, because at the time, it was shock, definitely, right? It was shock at first, but then I felt like I had to quickly get over it. You've dealt with the situation, let's try and move on, let's stay together, it's going to be fine. Then, I think it only hit me when we broke up. Then there's no other person who knows, some kind of support. Then that's when it hit me. But hey, I'm now alone. I can't tell anyone in my family.
So I was actually going to ask you about that. In terms of your family, have you told them?
No, we killed my mom at the time. I only told my mom 6 years later. Yeah, literally. So I was diagnosed when I was 13, and I only told her 2019.
And how was that? And how was that?
It was painful.
Yeah.
It was painful, like really painful. No one wants to see their parent, crying because of you, right? So there was definitely a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment, a lot of confusion as well about why did I keep it so long. And for me, I was trying to protect her at the all this time, because Umdala in her 70s, and her reputation in the community, in the church, is very important. So I didn't know if she was going to be happy, and I'm actually very happy. If someone asked me the other day if I could turn back, would I have told her earlier? And I think I wouldn't have, because I got a chance to process
100%, and hence I was asking about the processing of your own emotions before you now you have to deal or baby everybody else.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Like even years later, there's no one that can tell me different about my status or me living positively with HIV. The other day, not to divert, the other day, so now I have a baby with my husband. Thank you. Obviously, we broke up with that other guy. So I have a baby with my husband. He's almost a year old. Obviously, I share different aspects of my journey on social media, just to inspire others to say, hey, it's gonna be okay. You know, chin up, and it will all turn out okay. Even though I can imagine how hard it is now. So someone took a picture of me and my baby, and they posted it on. It's a fake account, but it has gained a lot of traction because of all the nonsense they write, and said, "Oh, I'm sure the baby also has AIDS." Right? So here's the thing: was I hurt? Not really, because I kind of feel like the person tried. I want to believe they have common sense to understand how these things work, right? That you can give birth to an HIV negative child, but it's a matter of how they were able to pinpoint what would get people talking. And how they manipulated the whole conversation around HIV and AIDS to be correct. So yeah, I'm
How did you tell your husband?
So we met 3 years after my HIV diagnosis in 2016. Immediately, but it was my way of saying, look, I had gone through all the emotions of trying to heal, obviously, and it just tried to
through
therapy, spiritually as well, writing a lot, and hence how the book came about. And we met 2016, and I don't care if I'm gonna be single, I'm not gonna have any kids, it's fine, whatever, it is what it is. And we met at the airport and started, conversing. We exchanged email addresses, and I was like, okay, we've been emailing each other back and forth for quite some time. Hey, we need to meet. There's something I need to tell you. And I just blurted it out, and I was like, hey, I'm HIV positive. I've been HIV positive for about 3 years. It was nice meeting you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And I still continued to go out for lunch. That was a very nice lunch. It was a very nice lunch. And
did you have salmon?
No, I had prawns.
Oh, you had prawns? Well, try out the salmon next time.
Salad.
Yeah, try some salmon next time, okay?
I will. And we got married in 2019, so we just celebrated about five years together. Yeah.
Nice.
Whew.
Are you touched?
I'm actually experiencing quite a lot of emotions. I'm about to get teary. So, but before I do, because it's not professional and everything, let's go to business with Tabisoloko. It gets deeper and the plot thickens. The plot thickens as we are chatting to our in-studio guest, Nozibele.
You were coming all right.
Mo, do you not want to give this a bash? I mean, you're making me do all the hard work on the
Girl,
show.
you've already said it 2 times.
Okay.
Surely.
All right. Nozibele Qamngana
Yes.
Mayaba.
There you go.
All right, Nozi, thanks for that. I've been listening to you off air.
Yeah.
Your story is very deep. And I'm really, and I gotta commend you for even being on the mic.
Thank you.
For writing a book and being so positive, beautiful, and living your life, and it really shows, and I hope one is learning from this in terms of, firstly, you never give up.
Yeah.
You still continue on your path, because we're all running our own race at the end of the day. And look at, one door shuts down sometimes, and a bigger one always opens.
Absolutely.
And that's really basically what has happened with you.
Yeah.
From a childhood point of view, how was that upbringing, and has it influenced some of the decisions you've made now?
No, definitely. So my brother and I were raised by a single mom. So I don't know. I'm just gonna blur it out because there's so much. I mean, my brother and I were a result of an affair between my mom and my dad. My dad was married at the time, and I guess it's just that label of being abantwana that are born out of wedlock, but now very in particular to a married man, right? And as we know, traditionally, your identity comes from your father.
Right.
So now I did not know where I belonged. Do I take his clan name? Do I take his surname? And to what degree am I part of his family?
And you can't because he's married.
He's married also. I'm a constant reminder, of what happened. So for a long time, I struggled with that sense of belonging and also just identity. And over time, now I try to overcompensate. With my personality, at school, overachiever. When I walk into a room, I have to be the loudest one.
You're animated.
Yes, animated.
You are ignored and othered in the most important part of your identity.
Just because I don't get that, then I'm gonna get it somewhere else.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get it anywhere else. So I struggled a lot with like self-esteem issues because of that, right? And also I believe there's a part of me, because I longed for it, for my dad in particular, that affection and that love. Then I was looking for my dad in every relationship, right? Even, my then boyfriend who infected me, I was looking for my dad. And yeah, it just impacted me in terms of just trying to...
Did you find him?
There are similarities, personality, manipulation... I believe there are parts where I would resonate so much, and or people remind me so much of my dad.
Okay.
And I'll make a very silly example, but this is more on a positive note. My husband, so my dad passed away a couple of years ago. Right after he passed away, and I already married my husband, he now has a saying, my dad... You would used to dye his hair because they didn't want white hair. So he dyed his hair like up until he passed away. Cool. Yeah, I wanted to be cool. Just after his passed away, my husband dyes his hair. He dyes his hair. I don't know why. I don't know. So it's those things I'm like, my dad.
I want to explore so many other themes that you speak about in Positively Me, the book that you have authored. It is 20 minutes after 4 Central African time. We are wrapping up our conversation with our guest, Nozibele, and she is the author of Positively Me. Now, one of the themes that you do explore is identity and how important, integral really, to the kind of trajectory of your life after the diagnosis and the rest, right? There's also a story of love, though, right? And love of self primarily.
Absolutely.
Before we even look at your husband, let's talk a little bit more about that. Coming to terms with, I can actually love again. I can allow another person to love me, and I'm okay with me despite this thing that's running in my blood.
So I think that one of the hardest things that I had to do is take responsibility of my part in the story. Yeah, that was not nice. Yeah, that was not nice. Because as much as for a long time I was like, oh, he owes me. How could he do this? But then there was a part of me I was like, oh, but girl, son, you could have done better. You could have made a different decision. Take ownership of the story. And the minute I did that, the minute I was like, you know what? It happened, I can't go back, and I can only move forward. How do I move forward? Is to accept the situation as it is, as bad as it is, and just love myself again. And it was so beautiful to learn how to love yourself, right? Because even when I met my husband and telling him about, my HIV diagnosis, it was not a matter of I was seeking any kind of validation from him. I was actually okay. Even if Uskumbuzo would have said, oh no, it's not going to work for me. Yeah, I'm human, it would have hurt, but it wouldn't have broken me. Yeah, when I was okay. But no, it is what it is. And I think that's the beauty about it, because it also influenced how we took on our relationship at the time, and even our marriage. Because in all the 8 years that we've been together, 5 years married, there's not even, and I'm not exaggerating or doing this for radio or social media, honestly, there's not even one day where either one of us has used the HIV diagnosis over the other. It has never been an issue. In an argument, never. Wow. Even in the moment, I was like, whew, you know what? Today, you are not my favorite person, ever. And I think that speaks volumes to the kind of person he is and how we came together. And I think that's beautiful.
I think, really inspiring. And clearly you guys, when they say you have found your soulmate, you really have. I was discussing this last week in terms of when you are in a new relationship, and I've done this before, I ask for your ATC and your bank statements, because I need to know financially what am I going into. Would you advise one also does that in terms of the status?
Definitely.
Okay.
And also, at the point where someone feels uncomfortable, that should be a red flag. Because we should normalize that.
Which is that's my thing.
Yeah,
Especially that's
no.
why when I come to finance,
Yes.
we need to be very transparent.
I know that we're very transparent
Yeah.
between. At any point where this person feels uncomfortable in talking about, hey, can we test together? And it's not a matter of money when the relationship is starting. Guys, I will even advise people that are married. Please test, okay?
Yeah.
Regularly.
Especially when you're
Please,
married.
love
Because they are some of the most singlest married
Assembly
men
for
out
sweetie.
there.
Okay.
Let's talk about the book. Where can we find it? Where are you? Where can people find you?
Yes. Okay, the book is coming out at all national online stores, exclusive books everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, all national stores, bookstores, and I'll be having a launch at Rosebank Mall at Exclusive Books on the 9th of May.
That's the Thursday.
They got some great coffee there, so it's great to be there.
Thanks for that. And then also on the 11th of May, the Saturday, we have an afternoon session at the Book Circle Capital. So if anyone is interested, they can go to my social media platforms. On Facebook, I'm Nozibele Mayaba, and on Instagram, I am at Nozibele Qamngana, and they'll get all those details.
Oh, I'm so excited. The only problem with this conversation is that it wasn't long enough.
I know.
Yeah. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your courage. Okay, so you are back on the show with your husband, and I really want it to be like a men's circle as well, because I think your husband does sound like the anomaly.
I've got questions for him.
Absolutely, please do.
He sounds like
questions
a
for
green pen in a box of white pens. Okay, and we need to find out what.
I mean, he has
that
his
was the
moments.
result
Let me
of.
not be any. He has his moments. We had a moment just this morning.
He will
But
make you coffee, please.
no, man, he didn't reverse the car. What am I supposed to do? Man, yeah. But we gotta come back.
Nozibele.
He was supposed to reverse the car. He knows I struggle to reverse the car on the driveway.
Women. Well, learn. Go reverse
No,
it. Why must I wake up?
he's
You must
there
not
for
reverse
that.
it. No, you must reverse it. How are we going to learn? Oh, why must I get up and reverse? You can reverse the car. I mean, really.
Whatever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is Nozibele Qamngana Mayaba.
Yes.
I want to
It's
meet your
10 minutes.
husband. I can't wait. So we're
You
going to talk about
should.
reversing cars.